Hey guys, welcome back to BachMakers, your favorite show that recaps all things Bachelor Nation. Before we continue with this episode, we're going to ask you very nicely, Michael, please deliver the news.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And
In
share.
that order, or reverse the order. It doesn't matter to us. Just do those things. Helps us. Enjoy this episode. We'll see you. We'll see you in the episode. Just keep watching. All right. Bye.
I'm up. She's stuck.
And hello, hi, how are you? Welcome back to BachMakers, everyone. Episode 13. Thank you for tuning in. And we're getting into the nitty-gritty now. We have the final two. We had fantasy suites for Golden Bachelor. We are 2 episodes left of Paradise as well. So we're in the fourth quarter now. We're in the witching hour, as some might say. Is that Diet Dr. Pepper? You're a crazy man. That's disrespectful to actual Dr. Pepper.
I'm sorry. I'm watching my calorie intake of. I don't want 50 grams of sugar right now at 4:30
That's
p.m.
fair. Good for you. Well, I'm Wyatt. That's Michael. We're the BachMakers. Thanks for tuning in. Also, everyone, we now have BachMaker merch. I'm not old. I'm golden. This turned out way better than I ever thought it would. And I kind of love this shirt. So everyone go buy it. It'll be linked in the description right now. Help support the show. We appreciate it. All right. First things first, no updates. Scoreboard check. We're still knotted up at 12.
Yeah.
And it could get interesting
Yeah.
if Leslie doesn't win it for you.
Yeah. It truly is the witching hour. Truly is the witching hour in terms of the scoreboard in our fantasy season, which is just one long fantasy game.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Because Blake, Rachel, and Brayden are all up in the air right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's safe to say Brayden's donezo.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
I think.
non-existent.
I mean, there could
And
be a miracle. You never know. You never know. Never
yeah.
know. But he's had some miracles thrown to him, so. I
So
don't think
it seems like it'll come down to Leslie on if she wins or not, which obviously we're going to talk about. Comment of the week. Go ahead and
What you
comment.
set your thermostat to.
I like that. It's a good one. Oh yeah, so go ahead and comment what the ideal thermostat temperature is, and then if we like it, we'll send you free merch. So go ahead and do that. Let's get into it. Golden Glammy. Anything special here? You want to go first? I got more of a wild card one, a little fun one.
Are you not going with either of the two contestants left?
Yes, not mine is not a contestant.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do it just because I've never done this, and I'm still fully Team Leslie. But I'm gonna give my golden Glammy to Theresa this week because
Well deserved. Well deserved.
she impressed me. She impressed me, and we said some things about Theresa, which I think some fair and maybe some little out of pocket, uncalled for. And this is not a full apology, but like
No.
I 100% do think, and I'll retweet my previous statement that it is just the editing. She's a good gal. She's a sweet lady, and yeah, I mean, really does have everything in common with Gerry, and that's very clear. But I'm sure we'll get into that later.
Yeah, I think our criticisms of because I've bumped into a few in like IRL Team Theresa people, which I didn't know they existed. I ran into multiple people
Right?
this weekend who
Where?
were
On
who
the
were
pickleball
mad at
courts?
me. Yeah, on the pickleball courts. No,
That's too.
friends of mine who watched the show and they were mad at me. They're like, "Why are you so Team Leslie? I'm Team Theresa." And I was like, "Whoa, let's talk this one out because now I'm intrigued."
Yeah.
Um, and I think we're definitely biased because Leslie is a friend of the program, fan of the show. So we definitely skew that direction. I think our criticism with Theresa is more I I don't know. I think the way she presents herself to Gerry seems very much like she's just trying to win and
Hmm.
she's doing anything for Gerry, which I guess is
Is
healthy.
yeah.
Like, but if it's a there's a balance there. It feels like Leslie is a lot more of an independent, will be fine without Gerry.
Yeah.
Theresa feels is giving off the vibe that she like needs Gerry. And
Yeah.
the fact that the timeline it happens so quick, that is a little off-putting. And I think that's where our criticisms stem from. But
Mhm.
I wanna back off the we're on the train for Leslie. We're on the Team Leslie train, but that
Choo
doesn't
choo.
mean choo choo. We don't have to shun or attack the other side. We're just on our
Correct.
train. We're on our tracks. The other
Yeah.
tracks are going. We can let them be.
Yeah.
So your Golden Glammy is Theresa, I think first time winner. So congratulations to her.
Probably. I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think.
Unless she won one in like the first week.
I doubt it.
My Golden Glammy, I don't know her actual name, but I'm gonna give a shout out to Jesse Palmer's mom, who Gerry alluded to the fact that Jesse's parents are probably still knocking boots, as Gerry said. So shout out to them. I'm sure they loved seeing that on TV. I'm sure Jesse loved hearing that on TV. I don't even know if Jesse has any kids or if she is a Glammy at this point, but yeah, shout out to Jesse Palmer's mom. My Golden Glammy, obvious first time winner of the award. So congratulations to her.
Yeah, first time winner, and maybe probably the last time. Maybe
Definitely,
not.
almost definitely a last time winner.
Never know. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. That whole conversation between Gerry and Jesse was one of my favorite things this season. Just how uncomfortable Jesse was the whole time.
I thought it was a little messed up on Gary's side. I guess, Jesse's the host, like, and he's just getting that was kind of uncalled for shot, like, and making him uncomfortable for no reason at all.
I mean, your parents, are you still feeling like mom and dad come down the stairs with a little extra spring in their step?
TMI, Gerry.
I maybe
Which I do think it's kind of, we see some, sense of humor from Gerry. That's a little bit like, he's kind of like Ferda, he's kind of shooting the shit with Jesse a little bit. Maybe they get a little comfortable, but I don't know. You can tell Jesse, he showed that he handled it well. But you could tell he obviously did not love that comment, but I don't think anybody would love to hear that comment on, television.
Yeah. That's like the ultimate your mom joke.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I really hope Jesse and Gerry are boys outside of the show. Like they're just pals and they shoot the shit a little bit. That would be wholesome. That would be fun to see. All right, cringe of the week. I can go first here. Mine is an overarching, it's like a theme that we've seen in Paradise that I want to call out. We've been seeing it too much. A lot of the people on the show have used this phrase and say this a lot, which I think is because they're spending so much time together. When you hang out with people, you start saying and talking the same way.
Yep.
It's the phrase where they say it's giving blank.
It's giving commitment. It's giving relationship. It's giving Aaron asked me to be his girlfriend.
It's giving messy, and I don't like it.
And and it's gone too far. And I'm fine with it, but it's gotten to the point.
Fire saying.
I agree, but it's gotten to the point where they're just saying it's giving, and then they just explain what's happening.
It's giving Aaron asked me to be his girlfriend.
I was like, that's just what's happening. Like, it really bothers me. They're all saying it, and every time I hear it now, it just rubs me the wrong way. I think it's gone too far. Every now and then, I understand the need for it, but you can't just use that phrase to describe what's happening. Like, it's giving Aaron B and Eliza are dating now. It's giving boyfriend, girlfriend. That's what Eliza said at one point. And I was like, what? That's just a fact.
Yeah.
It really bothered me.
And Aaron B's roast, he said, it's giving Lost, when he was like explaining, it was like his roast on Rachel. And I was like,
how is it that you crash landed on Paradise and you still can't find a man? It's giving Lost.
Ooh. Yeah, like you kind of, I mean, that makes sense with the joke, but then you kind of explain the joke while doing that. So
it's mostly Eliza. I think Mercedes and Aaron B are probably the top three culprits of this.
I mean, it really is Gen Z / young millennials. Kind of, it's crazy.
Like, Kylie does it as well.
I see it on TikTok all the time, so it's giving overused. That's for sure.
Actually, no, Olivia does it all the time too. Everyone on the beach does this. Now that I think about it, so that's my cringe of the week. Just an overarching theme of Paradise that I'm over with.
Okay, my cringe of the week is a second-time winner and back-to-back winner, Tanner again. Yeah,
racking up the awards, baby.
I guess, yeah. And this was his roast on Kat. I don't know the exact verbiage he used, but it was about the Botox.
I know I ruined your birthday, and I'm really sad about how that conversation went, but I really couldn't tell where your head was at because your face really wasn't moving due to all the Botox.
Thank you.
And the way he delivered it was just like so awkward, and it just like did not land that well. And then Kat kind of like, obviously was a little defensive about it, but kind of shook it off. I think she took it well, but like it was just, I don't know. He said it. I was just like, oh, good one, man.
Yeah,
Oh.
and I want to talk about Tanner's roast later because I don't think he understands like the comedic timing of a
Mhm.
roast. I don't think he understands
Yeah.
like the entertainment value of a roast. He was just actually trying to be mean, which
Mhm.
like I don't think he quite understood it.
It's kind of
Because he
funny.
was ruthless, ruthless on some of the stuff he said, and we'll get into that in our Paradise recap. But I think what most people are interested right now, we're gonna do our Golden Bachelor recap. It starts out with Leslie, our team Leslie, Choo Choo. She
Choo-choo.
got the first date, and they went waterfall rappelling. I don't know the best verbiage for that. They rappelled
They were
down.
water falling,
They were
but controlled.
yeah. They were
So
they were
water falling.
they were
They were
waterfall.
water falling.
Yeah.
Water falling.
Which I want to call out Gerry here. Pretty unchivalrous to make Leslie be on the waterfall side. It's like the sidewalk rule. You don't put the lady on the waterfall side. She was like swerving into the waterfall, just getting drenched the whole time, while Gerry was just
You're good.
Uh-oh.
You got this.
chugging along, saying, "You got this,"
Yeah,
and then
dry.
Leslie's just getting waterboarded by the waterfall the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, Leslie is very adventurous, and so maybe she wanted that side. We don't know. Could have happened. Maybe
Yeah.
she chose that side. So
Yeah. So they do that. They waterfall for a little bit. They have their dinner. And these are the conversations where stuff starts to get very real.
Mhm.
And they talk about what life would look like outside of the show, which I think, and I think we're on the same page here, I think is going to be the deciding factor on how
yeah,
this season ends. So basically, Leslie says she does want to be close to family in Minnesota. She doesn't want to move to Indiana full time, which Leslie,
what the
what
hell?
the hell? I mean, it's
That's-
awesome here. A little disrespectful, but we're still Team Leslie on that train. Choo choo.
Choo-choo.
It gets me every time. So she doesn't want to move to Indiana full time. They talk about being like, instead of bi-coastal, they're going to be bi-midwestern.
Which
Um,
vibes.
I kind of love that. But Gerry, I thought Gerry was going to be opposed to that. He seemed intrigued by that. He seemed to say, "Yeah, we'll figure this out." And that was the money line that she said. She said, "We'll figure this out together." And Gerry seemed to love that. So yeah, and then Leslie did almost get tears out of me. She talked about how year over year it's kind of a Groundhog's Day thing where she's alone on her birthday. And it was just very sad, very emotional.
Mhm.
This show just continues to chug at the heartstrings.
Choo choo. You
It's a
said
little sad.
chug. You said chug.
Jeez. And then also one thing, lighthearted moment. Leslie, they have the sex conversation.
Mhm. Yeah.
They asked when the last time you had sex was, and Leslie's like, "Yeah, it's been a year." And as soon as she said that, I was thinking about her kids, who that very
Mhm.
clearly could figure out who that is,
Mhm. Oh yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
super uncomfortable. There's a
And
lot
in
of
that
uncomfortable things from this show, but I think that had to be the hardest to watch as a kid.
conversation, she asked, "When's the last time you had sex?" And he was like, "With myself or with another person?" And I was like,
Yeah.
that was about to be my cringe of the week. I was like, why are you saying this on national television? You could easily have just answered the fucking question.
Yeah, you didn't have to.
You
do
didn't
that
have
one.
to say. You didn't have to do that. That was because then you got Gary's grandkids. Yeah, we don't have to. Yeah,
Gerry is a 16-year-old boy. With that moment, and then the 69, he laughed at 69 like a middle schooler. Like he thought that was the funniest thing in the world.
objectively, I think everybody laughs at 69 like they're middle schoolers. That's how that's how nostalgia just pops
Yep.
back in. And
Um,
also, while we're on that, 69 is the correct answer for the ideal thermostat. By the way,
I
just saying.
I would like to go a little lower. I'm a 67,
Okay.
68. 66 scares me, but low key awesome, ideal. But you don't want to have that number up there. Um, but
Can't do
yeah,
it.
Leslie does get the moment where we talked about this last week. Gerry says after they decide to go to the fantasy suites, Gerry all but signed, sealed, deliver this season, said it's over, said, I think you're the one. And
Yeah.
just put a bow on it, game over. But like what are we doing now? What are we doing here? It seems like we're getting set up.
Yeah. Well, I think it's been seeming like we've been set up the past couple weeks in
Yeah.
terms of how it's been going and how what he's been saying and what they've been showing. That you'd think all the signs lead to Leslie, but some signs lead to Theresa.
I it I don't know where I stand with this because I feel like we're missing something. We're missing a piece here because everything points to Leslie right now. But then there's also moments with Theresa
That would point to Theresa.
that point to Theresa, but he's saying it so definitively. I think that's the problem I have. He's saying, I
Yeah.
think you're the one, or like we're gonna like I forget the other what else did I write? He said we can figure it out together. Like I want to do that with you. It's so definitive that that's what's throwing me off. If he was like, I think at the end of this it could be us, maybe. Like that, like just add a little bit of verbiage to make it
Yeah.
more up in the air because the definitive nature of it makes it think, oh, like this is over.
I think he's going away from the throwing it up in the air and that maybe verbiage, because when you add that element to it, that gets doubt into Leslie and Teresa's head, and obviously doubt would hurt them, and he loves both of them, that's clear, and he doesn't want to hurt them, but
Mm,
this is all just leading up volcano. It's going to be a big hurt
yeah.
for one of them. So that is inevitable. I think that is inevitable. It is going to be a fucking heartbreak. There'll be tears. The live audience will be crying.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
the tears.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have a camera on me the whole time during the finale, just so I can have actual live reactions, and then I'll clip those and put that on TikTok. Because I'm worried. I'm officially consider me worried for how this
Yeah.
is gonna end
I might try
for
to
all
have to.
parties.
I'm gonna try to have to watch that live. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to, but I'm gonna try to set that up to where I can watch it
Yeah.
live.
What
Streaming.
do you? Yeah, it's illegal Reddit stream for the Golden Bachelor. What do you think about the producer's decision to show or Gerry telling Leslie that he loves her multiple times on camera, but they refuse to show it for Theresa?
I
Because
mean,
he said it. He literally
yeah.
he told the cameras, "Yeah, I told her that I loved her." But
I feel like kind of what we were touching on earlier. It's kind of with that they're making us think this one thing, so it's gonna lead to this other thing. So
everyone's thinking that. Everyone's saying
so it's like some
they're
reverse psychology. I don't know.
that's yeah. I don't know if we're psyching ourselves out at this point. We're thinking too much. It feels very weird. And then Teresa's date starts off with the same vibes, the weird vibes where
Mhm.
Gerry, another thing Gerry says is, I can't stop thinking about Leslie, or I'm wondering what Leslie's doing right now.
Mhm. Which I was thinking about that, and thinking about, like, if you went on fantasy suite date and you never know what happens at night, no, that's none of their fucking business, like he said.
Mm-hmm.
It must be really hard to just the next morning go on a date with the other person, because obviously,
Yeah.
especially if that night went well for the two. I don't know. I just feel like it'd be such a weird dynamic, and so I think that second person is immediately at a disadvantage into at least the start of the date. And I think it was
Mm-hmm.
it was very clear. He was obviously thinking about Leslie, but like rightfully so. I mean, if you just had a night together, I think if it was roles reversed and Teresa's date was
Yeah.
first, he would be thinking about Theresa a bit on Leslie's date, but like rightfully so.
Yeah, the order's everything for fantasy suites, and isn't it? For some reason, I think is it usually 3 fantasy suites
Yeah, there is.
and then 4 hometowns.
Yeah,
It's usually 4
there's
hometowns. Okay. That's
They
why
just
it
didn't have
felt.
the time. They didn't have the time. I feel like
Yeah,
that's why
it
they
does
don't.
feel weird pitting fantasy suites just one-on-one, like directly comparing two fantasy suites is a lot different than comparing three fantasy suites.
Mhm.
And I think that's what is adding to the weird tension. Um, but Leslie, or not Leslie, sorry, Theresa. The other thing that caught me by surprise, and another criticism I have of their relationship, which I think is fair at this point. So I'm not going to take much pushback on this because he doesn't seem to know much about her. He found out what she does for a living at the fantasy suite dinner. He asked, he was like, "Oh, I want to ask the important questions now. What do you do?" What?
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
wild to me.
I had conversations with chicks in bars. That's in the first 3 minutes. That's being figured out. So,
Sup? What's your name? And what do you
what's
do?
up? What's up? What's your name? What you do for a living?
Uh, she walks away after you buy her drink.
Was that a clip from F Boy Island? That was a little F Boy Island teaser, I guess.
Oh yeah, I still haven't watched. I haven't caught up. I've watched the first 3 episodes, and
Oh,
my
yeah.
F Boy Island is just watching Katie on this season at this point. And we have our own F boys on the island at this point. But yeah, I don't even remember what we were talking about. Oh, he doesn't know anything about Theresa.
Yeah.
Which that's the criticism I have. It seems like they're just like you said, he wants to get Theresa to fantasy suites, which he
Yeah.
did. Mission accomplished. And then now what?
Well, I mean, it does seem like they had really good conversations that night. And two, they're kind of at the same wavelength in life and their experiences in life with losing a loved one. They're about the same age, 70, 71, 72. So it's like, kind of makes sense. And obviously, Teresa is kind of one of the, like we said, like a little dog following Gerry, would probably follow him to Fort Wayne, Indiana. So it's one of those things where I think Faith was sent home because of the whole distance thing. And if, Leslie would be like half Minnesota, half Indiana, but, Teresa's fully a Hoosier, soon to be Hoosier, then it's like,
Yeah.
that might make the decision for him if it's, equal, if he loves them both like equally.
Yeah,
Might be a
maybe
convenience thing.
I think we
So
need to be nicer to Theresa because I might just bump into her in the street nowadays.
At the
Like,
pickleball courts.
I'll be playing
Like-
pickleball and Theresa and Gerry are gonna show up and be like, "Oh crap! I wonder if they know." Which
Like,
we'll see.
you're wearing your I'm not
I'm
old.
wearing
I'm
this.
like, uh-oh.
He's like, "Wait, that's me." I'm like, yeah, you want one?" Which everyone go buy these right now. It's the greatest Golden Bachelor merch on the planet. We'll save predictions. What I want to do is because we have 2 weeks off, or 2 weeks until the next episode.
Yep.
Next week, we'll do a very short 10-15 minutes and we'll rip through some 5 like bold predictions for how both seasons are going to finish out. So we're not going to have a full episode next week because there's not much to react to, but we'll have a short one where we make predictions for the rest of the season. So we'll hold off on predicting how things go.
Okay.
That makes sense? That work?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into Golden Bachelor or Paradise then. Starts out with our girl, Olivia, down in the dumps, but her savior has shown up. Mr. Michael, who we didn't remember much about him from charity season, but they seem to hit it off pretty well. They do go on their little dancing date, and get the bodies moving a little bit, just dancing, all like that, and it seemed to go well. It seems very late in the game where I think best case scenario they leave dating and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because again, there's 2 weeks left.
I mean, there's obviously no way they're getting engaged. I mean, they might leave as a couple, but I don't really see anything super crazy there.
I'm also hesitant too because every person Olivia has talked to, I kind of love them together. So maybe I just love Olivia. And I think Olivia has that personality where anyone could have walked down that beach and Olivia would have a fun time with them. So it's kind of because when John Henry was there, I love John Henry. Now he's a little dumb. It's a little dumb boy. But we'll see. I am happy for our queen Olivia. She seems happy, so we're happy as a show.
Yep.
Kat and John Henry have a little conversation, and Kat has a small moment of redemption where she admits openly that she could have gone about things better. So I want to give her props. This is our redemption episode too, because we've been harsh. We've been very harsh on Kat, and most of the internet has been harsh on Kat.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's been a big debate on edit versus like reality.
Yep.
With that, I've seen a lot of people arguing
yep.
whether, which I'm on the side of, you can't really create a bad edit out of nothing. So there has to be something there. They can obviously enhance it.
That's what wasn't Wells saying?
Wells.
Wells was on a podcast on
Nick Vial's podcast. Yeah.
And Wells was saying something like that. And
yeah,
I mean, that's kind of facts. You obviously can't create out of nothing.
Yeah, I agree with him. And I think there's a lot of exploiting not the brightest people, and not in like a street smart, school smart. They're not used to television and how things can come across. So it comes across, and they can manipulate their words a little bit better. But so shout out to Kat. She did own up to it and say, hey, like I could have done things better. Which, do we think they could end up together, like engaged at the end of this, Kat and John Henry?
I feel like John Henry's not the guy to get engaged on the beach, you know, just judging from how he's been. And I mean, remember when he was walking down, just literally fucking shaking in his boots? I don't think he's proposing to any single person, no matter if they were soulmates made in heaven together.
Kat might propose to him.
That could happen. That could happen. Instead of giving him a ring, propose with a.
Because she wants to be
one of the masks, one of the underwater welding masks.
She gets down on a knee, just jumps into the ocean.
Peace out. Yeah.
So we'll see what I think they leave dating would be my guess, but
yeah, we can. I don't think anything more than that.
Yeah. And then we get 2 more people on the beach. Basically 1.5 people. Taylor and Jordan show up, and before we talk about Jordan, let's talk about how dirty production did Taylor, who I don't remember. I don't think anyone remembers from
no idea.
Charity season, or was it Charity season?
I honestly have no idea.
Doesn't even matter at this point. They just set this guy up for failure, to be a joke. They brought him down on the beach to just make fun of him, because every time they showed him, they played goofy music in the background about him wanting a date card, never giving him one, which is absurd. Setting someone down with no date card is so mean.
Yeah, that's a recipe for failure. So
yeah, you can't find anyone. But Jordan ends up talking to Rachel again. If those who don't remember, Jordan went home out of the first one-on-one date, which Rachel seemed very apologetic about that.
Yeah.
And I think she has a lot of regrets about how she handled the Bachelorette season. And I think that's why she's on Paradise, to be honest. Which good for her for owning up. And that's an impossible situation to be in as the Bachelorette, especially when there was 2 Bachelorettes. And I think she was trying to, with that first date with Jordan, she was trying to set the tone. And if she didn't like immediately see this person could be my future husband, she was going to cut him loose. So she sent him home right away. And she seemed sorry about it. She apologized a few times.
Yeah. I remember their date, like going back to, Rachel's season, Gabby and Rachel's season. And like their date, like really went well. And even the conversation at dinner, like felt like it went really well. And like the sending home was just kind of out of the blue. And it was kind of just like, what the fuck? Especially because like this dude was cool. He's like attractive man, fucking drag racer car driver.
Drag queen. As we figured out last week, he's a drag queen.
Drag queen. And I was just like, I don't know, it's kind of out of left field. So
but they get the redemption.
Yeah, redemption arc. Going crazy. And
they went on a yoga date, which they started making out in the middle of the yoga session, which I was like, I don't think that's in the rules. I don't think you're allowed to do that. But they did.
Yeah.
Who are these people? They're just bringing on the beach to instruct yoga. Are they local people or?
I get in the bag though. You gotta respect. You gotta respect. They're getting the bag. Have to be there, teach some yoga, and watch people make out right in front of you. So go crazy.
The one, not criticism, but just something I want to note for that date. every 2 minutes, Jordan and Rachel both would do like the Paul Rudd, Sean Evans, Hot Ones thing. Like, look at us.
Yep.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought that we would be back here together going on a date? Like, look at us. Not me. They would just do that every 2 minutes, and that got old pretty quick. Like, all right, we get it. You used to date. Everyone on this show used to be on another show. That's the point of this show. So move past that. Let's start rekindling some stuff, which they have their redemption arc, but I think that's it. I don't see much more with him because Rachel's already caught up in Tanner stuff. And I think Tanner and Rachel are going to just be part of the conversation the rest of the way. I don't think Jordan's going to be involved. Tanner was sad boy hours on the beach when Rachel got asked to go on the date. So I can't tell where Tanner stands with Rachel. I don't think Rachel could tell where Tanner stands with Rachel. And so it was all really confusing for a little bit.
I think Tanner is fully into Rachel, I guess, from what I've gathered.
Yeah. It's so weird because the idea of a friendship rose was brought up. Rachel thought that Tanner might have given her the rose as a friendship rose, which I feel like you should be able to give a different color rose if it's a friendship rose. Like, give a blue rose. But hey, I'm not trying to date you, but like, you're chill. Let's stay on the beach for a little bit. That it should be very clear that this is a friendship rose.
Hey, I don't find you attractive at all in the slightest, but like you can stay.
Yeah, I don't like anyone else, so yeah, take it, whatever.
But I mean, how do you see the friendship rose thing if they did make out right before that, or not?
That's
make
what I
out?
was saying.
Well,
Rachel
kissed for like 2 seconds. Can I kiss you? I think we should
right
kiss.
now. I think we should like totally make out right now.
Tanner's gonna be on the next season of F-Boy Island.
I think you're right. I think he is very into Rachel, and I think Rachel's not fully sold on him, so that's why she is looking for almost a way out. Like, maybe it was a friendship rose. Maybe he's not that into me. We'll see how that ends up, but I think it's gonna be those two figuring it out the rest of the show. I don't think Jordan's gonna be involved, to be honest. Next up, Aaron B. Oh, he's got a girlfriend, man. Let's go.
So proud of him. I feel like a proud father.
It's wild. I do feel very proud of him. He finally made it, and we'll see what happens. They seem headed towards engagement at this point. I would say more likely than not engaged.
Yeah, especially more likely than anybody else there, obviously.
Avon and Kylie.
I know. I still am just not on the Avon proposing. I just can't see him chopping on a knee. I'm sorry. No offense, Avon.
We'll see. Well, we can talk about that date. We do have the other, and then the very irrelevant couple of Sam and F. Peter.
Yeah, they threw him on the date because they're like, you know what, give him some screen time, and like let's see what Peter's twerking with.
They have to be so mad that one of the strongest couples on the beach are F. Peter and a girl from Bachelor in Paradise, Canada. They're like, really? None of this. We have a former bachelorette here. We have Brayden, who's just a like Energizer bunny, wild card. So they have to be a little upset that that's one of the strongest couples on the beach. But nevertheless, they go on their date. They do the little twerking thing. I almost put Avon's dancing as my cringe of the week, but it really quickly turned into kind of like a wholesome coming out of his shell type moment where I was like, oh, Avon, good for you, man. Like he tried. He tried for Kylie.
That's all you can ask.
Was kind of sweet. So I'll give him credit, and he's not going to win cringe of the week for that. But I think both those couples could end up engaged. I could see
Peter.
Yeah, I definitely do. Like, there's been zero conflict with them the whole time.
You don't know. I mean, we don't really know that.
Well,
though,
from what we've seen,
screen time. Yeah,
they haven't built up any potential conflict, and at this point, it'd feel weird if they threw that in there.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll see. Avon did have a funny moment. My quote of the week, actually, after his dancing and twerking moment, he was cut to his interview, and he whispered, he was like, "I'm gonna get beat up so bad when I get home."
But then again, I'm gonna get beat up when I get home.
Knowing that's got to be so real, knowing all your friends and family are
watching this.
watching.
Yeah.
If we had to go on one of these shows, there had to be moments where I'm like, fuck, Michael's totally gonna see that, and I'm totally gonna win Cringe of the Week for that one. Damn it.
Yeah.
When one of us inevitably ends up on the show and then we win Cringe of the Week every single week as the other one of us is ripping a solo episode.
Dude, I'd freaking love to be the Aaron B of future Bachelorette.
Oh, there was another quote Rachel brought up. So Tanner went on this big monologue of, I really want someone that I could run the world with, and we can take over the world, and we can start businesses, and then we can watch Netflix together. And I just want that best friend. And Rachel paused, was like, that was the hottest thing I've heard on the speech.
To leave with somebody and be in a relationship, because I want that so bad. Like, I think about it all day, every day. Even when I'm working, I'm at the gym, I'm like, I just want to be with my person and just like go to dinner and like travel the world and do cool and start businesses and take over the world and then go home and watch Netflix. Like,
That's the most attractive thing I've heard on this beach.
And I was, chill, Rachel. You obviously didn't hear the Fig Jam quote by Aaron B.
Facts.
Because that was by the bars. That was the hottest thing said on the beach, for sure. So, pause there, Rachel. But yeah, so the biggest thing from this episode, and we've kind of been burying the lead, our girl, friend of the program, former bachelorette and former fiance of not Braden, Blake, shows up on the beach, Katie Thurston. She's back and better than ever. Almost exactly what we thought would happen. They had a conversation. She shows up, and Blake and Jess are still in their little uneasy period. They're still figuring it out, and I'm kind of over it at this point.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. At this point, if
Yeah.
you're still figuring it out, they've been together since day one of the beach.
Yeah.
And they still can't figure it out.
I mean, again, I think the 8-year age gap is actually the thing. I think that's real.
Yeah. Yeah. And they apparently they all call her Baby Jess, which we'll talk about the roast in a second, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
So Katie shows up, she pulls Blake, and I want to get your thoughts on this conversation between them. It seems pretty mature.
I didn't watch full of Katie's season. So my Blake knowledge even going in was kind of minimal. I know like they were engaged and then they got broken off, and I know Katie started dating someone kind of soon after, right?
So what happened was Katie and Blake broke up, which it was brought up that it was over the phone. They broke up over the phone, which people were getting very mad about on the internet. Backstory, it was during COVID and he lived in Canada. He literally could not leave the country. So everyone who's coming at Katie for that, back off, stand down, check yourself. But
and like Kylie knows, it's okay to get broken up with over FaceTime. That's
yeah. There's 2 people on that beach who got broken up over the phone. So they broke up, and then Katie, being the instigator that she is, started posting stuff about all the exes from the season. And she called it like 12 days of something. And she would post one. And at the very end, she posted John, who got sent home like the second week of Katie's season. And they were dating. And then they dated for a couple months. And they eventually broke up. So it was very quick in the public eye. And that was the biggest hang up, it seemed like, for Blake.
Mm-hmm.
They had a conversation, and I think Katie owned up to the timeline and everything and just apologized for how things went down, and also validated that everything they had was real. There was no like fake feelings, show vibes, which was cool to see. It honestly was. I think it was a really good conversation.
Mature conversation.
Very mature. And I think they both left having a lot of love for each other, but not in the sense where they could rekindle things. They did like they asked Katie in one of the off-screen interviews, like, "Oh, do you still love Blake?" And she's like, "Oh, you can't ask me that," because it's complicated with exes. I'm sure ex-fiancés. Like, I feel like there's always going to be a certain level of I love this person. It's just we're not going to be together.
I have
Um,
love for this person, but I don't
I'm
love
not
this
in
person.
love.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
And I
it's
think that's what go ahead.
yeah, tying it back to Golden Bachelor. That's kind of like the same with losing, you know, a partner. You know, if
Hmm.
your partner dies, you still love them, but you can still love again, and you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was unrelated as
Yeah.
fuck. But thought I'd tie
Why
Golden Batch back in a little bit.
when
Sorry.
did this show get so like cathartic
When
and
they made
deep?
a Golden Bachelor,
Yeah, you're right.
obviously.
You're right. I think this was a big moment for Blake, um, which everyone was speculating if Katie coming on the beach was going to break up Jess and Blake. I think ultimately it will, because I
Yeah.
think Blake realizes we're nowhere near the level of love that I had for Katie
Hmm.
during that period of my life. So we're not there yet. And you
Yeah.
saw that at the very end of the episode
He was
where
saying
he was saying, why aren't we there yet?
we've had
Like,
more time. Yeah, like we've had
yeah.
more time than he had with Katie. So
Yeah. And then we get Katie's roast, the real reason she's there.
mhm.
Some of the highlights I would like to point out. Avon had a great
Mhm.
Rachel impersonation.
You guys, I am so truly, truly, truly honored to be here. And you all make me feel so special. But paradise, I'm here to find love and create my own journey.
Nailed it. And I really wish we saw more of Avon and Rachel together. It seems like they have a very healthy relationship. Like
Oh
they're
yeah.
friends. It seems like they're friends. And I wish we saw that because made it far in her season and everyone. And then after the finale of her season, there was a tease that they were going to try things and try
Yeah.
to figure things out. So we never saw any of that. And everyone's wondering what happened there. Just give us one nugget of what happened there because they seem like they're on very good terms.
Yep. And we can also maybe after we're done recapping Golden Bachelor talk about some plot holes missing in Golden
Yeah.
Bachelor of the past few episodes.
Yes. Yeah. We can do that. So the roast, Avon's Rachel impression was really funny. Olivia kind of bodied Rachel, saying, "Who's like, oh, Katie came on here, to like promote her new career or comedy career, but at least Rachel or at least she's trying to get a new career, unlike Rachel, who's like back on the beach." I was like, "Damn, Olivia."
Yeah.
Chill. I botched that. I don't remember what the exact quote was.
Rachel, Katie may have had the most boring bachelorette season, but at least she knows when to call it quits and start a new career.
So we'll see what happens there. It doesn't seem like Olivia has a lot of girlfriends on the beach outside of Eliza.
Yep. Agreed.
Eliza and her are besties. We love them together. Outside of that, I don't think Olivia really cares what any of the other girls think, which is kind of sick. Tanner went crazy on the roast. Absolutely, again, doesn't understand comedic timing and was just body bagging people. Said that, first of all, if he's all in on Rachel, he literally made a joke that he wished Gabby was there instead of Rachel.
Yeah, that's kind of yeah. I
It's
think
so
he was probably
fucked.
just brainstorming roast and was like, "Oh, I have to do something with Rachel and Gabby and like
Yeah.
do connect something there." Yeah, that was kind of random.
Yeah, which also, if this is the girl you're trying to like get to know and date, maybe avoid her on the roast. Roast
Yeah.
everyone else. Maybe don't roast her.
Well, there's just
So
playful roasting. Always
yeah,
adds to the tension.
which as expected, the roast went. It caused some drama, ruffled some feathers. I think Rachel was very upset. Jess was upset because everyone made fun of how young she was, and Kat just got flamed a bunch. Which Kat probably took it the best because I think Kat was expecting it going
Oh
into the
yeah.
roast. So we'll see how everything plays out there. It seems like the biggest aftermath of that whole day is going to be Jess and Blake,
Mhm.
and I think it's over. I really do think it's over for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not looking great. And like what we said, there was he said something at the end of the episode or the preview for the next episode or whatever about like why aren't we there and like that and like
Mhm.
that's just I don't know if it's foreshadowing that they're gonna be done or what's gonna happen, but There's 2 episodes left, right? And one episode's
Yeah.
an hour long, and then one episode's 3 hours long. So
Yeah.
I don't think they're for sure not getting engaged. I feel like that is very pretty.
Yeah. Definitely
pretty
not
set in
happening.
stone.
So you want to talk about the plot holes we're missing? The biggest
Yeah,
ones? You can
yeah.
go ahead and lead it. Yeah.
I guess the first one, the Tyler and Jess thing, that was like thrown in there for like 2 seconds and then just like totally forgotten about. And I thought that was weird. And then, like you were saying earlier with Rachel and Avon, like just not getting any more screen time with that. There wasn't that much screen time with like Rachel and Tyler either. There was like when he first came in, but I don't know. It just seemed like Tyler has been like pretty under the radar,
Yeah,
you
which
know.
we did kind of gloss over. That was a decent storyline from this week. Is they're still trying to make the truth box work, as
Mhm.
if it's not the fakest thing ever. They can write whatever they want on there, and the producers can just say, "Hey, say this, say this. This will cause drama," which is a hack for the producers.
Yeah,
They don't have to try to create drama. They can just create it themselves with the
yeah.
truth
They just
box.
literally they probably
Yeah,
actually put the things that are in the truth box in the truth box.
yeah.
That it's a way to kind of script, in a sense, their own show.
Yeah, and Wells pulls something out of Truth Box and says, "Oh, Tyler is more into, um, whatever I don't remember than he is in Mercedes. He's not into Mercedes at all. Basically, is what it was saying. Um, and Mercedes is not liking that because everyone on the beach seems to think the same thing, but no one told Mercedes that, which is pretty fucked up. Um, so it seems like my opinion is Tyler's there to date, Mercedes there to try to get engaged. And
Yep,
Tyler's enjoying the beach, and Mercedes is waiting for things to progress, and things just aren't progressing.
yep. That's gonna be their downfall, I would say.
Yeah.
And I guess going back to that, I want to give a shout out to Mercedes. I believe on our second or third episode when we were doing our original twofers for the first day, I had Mercedes gone, and she's kind of like stuck around and just been there and just
Yeah,
since day one. I did not see it coming. She had the little thing
me
with
either.
Will, and then I, what else? I
I
don't
think
know
it's just
what
Will and Tyler.
Will and Tyler, but she's stuck around
Yeah,
there. So shout out Mercedes.
yeah. Do you think anyone else? I forget the preview. Do we think anyone else shows up on this beach?
I forget the preview either, but probably not. I feel like it's
I think this is it.
yeah. I mean, there is still time left, so I guess there could be some last ditch efforts or do I mean I don't really know too much about the history of Paradise, but do people ever come back
Yes, that's happened.
or sent home?
I think someone's come back. Yeah.
Like if
And
anything, they
maybe
try to do
everything
that.
I think anyone who comes on the beach at this point, it's gonna be targeted. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
not just
Oh
gonna be a
yeah,
fresh face to go date whoever. It's gonna be an ex of somebody of a stable relationship. It's gonna feel very targeted for someone. I remember a couple years ago, like Kendall came back when Joe and Serena were about to get engaged. Kendall showed up to like have a final conversation with
Mhm.
Joe. Um, Something like that could happen, but I don't think we're gonna get a fresh face. I think they're gonna start to try to wrap up some storylines. Um, but yeah, we'll see, and we'll do a full video with predictions next week, next Monday. We'll just rapid fire some bold predictions for the end of both seasons, but we'll do two for Paradise, and we'll just hold true to these for the next 2 weeks. You want to go first? We'll just
And
do Paradise.
girls have the rose. Girls
The
have the rose.
girls have the roses.
Girls have
Yep,
the rose. Girls have the rose. Some guys go home. Didn't we already do a twofer and there has been one since? There has been didn't we
probably,
already do this? I'm pretty sure I
probably.
said Braden goes home, which I think that's inevitable, so I'll stick with that. Stays. Um, I'll say Tyler. We've been talking about him. I'll say stays.
Okay. I'm gonna say Jordan goes home. I don't think he's gonna be in the running with Rachel at all. And then staying is gonna be I think Tanner. I think Tanner stays to the end, and I think it takes the finale for Rachel and him to
Tanner.
either break up or
Mhm.
end in a relationship. So I think that'll be a storyline that finishes out the season. So I think they stay. Headlines, real quick. The only thing I have, this is exciting news. Susan from Golden Bachelor, she posted her meatball recipe, the one that supposedly gave everyone gas. And it gave me the idea of there needs to be a Golden Bachelor cookbook. Every contestant has a recipe they submit, and then they sell that. I would buy that so fast.
Yeah, I mean Baker Bailey. That'd be on my TikTok.
Which
ASAP
you
Rocky.
need to make Susan's meatballs.
Okay, I'll do it. I did not know she posted that.
Yeah.
Is the guac recipe on there too for their
Nancy's
guac?
I don't know if she's posted it. I didn't see that, but maybe. So yeah, all right. Stay tuned for Michael's TikTok. He's gonna make Susan's meatballs and put the theory to rest if it gives you gas or not.
I'm gonna test Susan's balls.
I didn't like that.
I didn't like it either. I regret it.
That was cool. All right, we'll wrap up. Anything else you want to add? Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Enjoy time with family, all your golden grannies.
Yeah, take the Thursday off to watch football. Obviously, not to hang with your family to watch football.
Yeah, and catch up on BachMakers, and we'll have an episode for you guys next week. Don't worry, even though there's no new material, but we'll have stuff to talk about. So
yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Everyone, go buy I'm not old. I'm golden merch. It's available right now. It's the best merch on the planet. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.